Welcome to Every Dull Moment. I'm Greg Blythe, and as always, once a year we have a very special episode. The year 2022 has passed, and we had a great year reviewing a lot of knives. So today we present to you the 22 knives of 2022 with an added bonus, an extra knife that we have here today. So as my wife scans across the table, some of these knives might already conjure up some memories you have of different episodes over the year. The year has been an amazing year. 12 months have gone by. 23 knives / maybe 24 knives really have been on display. Since the unboxings, we now have more of an opinion. We've had the... What is that?
I zoomed in on accident when I was...
So since the unboxing, we've had a chance to use a lot of these knives. You can even see the patinas that have formed on these knives. So we've even had a chance to sharpen some of the knives and have an opinion on their performance, their sharpenability, their use, some favorites and everything. So we look forward to sharing with you a flashback, a revisit to all the knives and let you know what's going on in the past year. So let's just go ahead and start off. We're kind of going to go smallest to largest. It's not like in an order of how they appeared on the show, but we have them in just kind of a certain order that will make it their workflow easy. As I begin to talk, we're going to slide one up from my wife to get to close up and just let you know if it's been used, if it's a favorite, whatever. So we're going to start off with the Takamura Chromax 165 millimeter Santoku. This particular knife was opened at the end of the year, so we just got it open. I know it can easily become a fan favorite of my wife. She doesn't like a knife that's too large. This semi stainless steel knife can be purchased very inexpensive. I think it originally, when it was gotten, it was around $115. It was gifted to me by our sponsor, so I had to look it up. I'm not sure if that price holds true today, but it was about $115 to $125, I'm going to say. You can find it at Tokashu Knife if they still have it in stock. The Chromax version of the knife, we also had unboxed the Takamura Megaki R2 steel the year prior. The performance is right there at the same. The Takamura family, 3 generations. They really wanted to work with stainless steel and get it as sharp as the other carbon steels. Inexpensive in the world of high-end Japanese knives. A great performer. Anyone can use this in their knife. Grandma can use it. The kids can learn. But you can use this for a lot of things. So I don't have to say, I can't really say much about using it yet because honestly, it's only been opened a couple of months and we've gotten some other ones you'll find out in a minute that have really jumped on the favorites bandwagon. Next to that, the Camo Damascus 165 millimeter Santoku. So obviously this is an upscale version of the Santoku that you just saw. The Western handle on this is just the maple. It's just gorgeous. It's like I said, it's an aesthetic upgrade. This particular R2 steel, high performance powdered steel, is going to be pretty much stainless. The Damascus does not offer anything on its performance, but it does offer the aesthetic. The full tang knife, fit and finish, just absolutely stunning. I think anyone would love to have this knife. Definitely more than double the price of the one prior. Again, for my wife who doesn't want to have to worry about wiping down a knife, I think that's a joy that she personally has where I don't mind. So going now towards a little bit of what you might call a unicorn. This Hinoura, TSUKASA Hinoura VS2 Rainbow Damascus, brass and copper mixed in. Unicorn meaning it's very hard to get. TSUKASA Hinoura is not making a lot of knives anymore. Again, 165 millimeter Santoku. I will tell you, performance-wise, it's just a little thick. It's a little bit of a thicker knife. So this was basically an artistic edition. Have not had a chance to sharpen it yet. It was not extremely sharp out of the box. The other 2 knives were extremely sharp out of the box. This is a hand-finished knife. There are other things that he does. I mean, it was sharp. I mean, let's not talk it down. It wasn't like it just like wowed me though. It's more the make, the fit and finish, the pattern itself, the artistic side of it. But the performance of it particularly didn't overwhelm me. So the next knife is somewhat, it has like an iridiance to it. I don't even know how to describe it. I hope the camera can really get a hold of it. This is the Takada no Hamono Ginsan Nakiri. This 180 millimeter Nakiri has that that stainless outside, the Ginsan. I mean, it's just, it doesn't stain. It works amazing. This particular one is sharpened by Nakagawa. So Takada no Hamono, having come out of the Asha Hamono family, doing the grind, and then Nakagawa putting the edge on. Performance is there. The beauty is there. I mean, it's a go-to. It's a go-to for a vegetable knife. A fan favorite. I mean, just how do you not want to stare at it? So we segue now to, it's funny because I feel like this video is going by very fast compared to the other years. I think it has to do with more of a working knowledge of the knife. If you're watching the show, we've had the knives, we've used the knives, which is kind of why it's funny that I bring up the next knife. The next knife was something that I wanted and searched for it long and hard to finally get. It's odd in its shape. It's beautiful in its pattern. It is not a favorite of mine. This knife was aesthetically beautiful. So this particular Damascus pattern by Nigara, it's one of theirs. I think it's a 32 to 46 layer Damascus. They make some that are more complicated. This R2 steel is something that they specialize in as well. So it is eye-catching. I could not really understand why it's not a go-to. I don't think it wedged food. It wasn't extremely high performer for me. It just didn't bite or catch me in a way that that I just wanted to pick it up. As much as I wanted the knife so bad because of its absolute beauty, its performance made me not grab it. It's just a feeling, and I'm sharing it with you, and there you go. So Thanksgiving, this past summer, my wife and I had a second Thanksgiving. We had
Like an early Thanksgiving.
like a family reunion / my daughter had not had an American Thanksgiving. So I decided to let one knife do all the work for the entire Thanksgiving event, and that would be the legendary Tinker Tank. This Shibata knife, this one was 8 of 8 in the collection when he made it. This is the super blue. So the super blue, obviously, it's a carbon steel knife. It can oxidize. It does resist oxidation very well. It got an entire day's worth of use. A lot of food was made that day. Everything was cut with this knife. I do find myself grabbing it, especially for the larger vegetables, the spaghetti squash. Recently, my wife had kind of been doing a little bit more of that. So this knife has found its way regularly
You gotta move it.
into the use. It's okay.
And we're gonna run out of space.
Shibata makes extremely sharp knives. Of course, the performance was there. It's easy for you to...
Yeah, we're running out of room over there.
It's okay. We're just making... So
They're on
we don't.
camera.
You don't have to go all the way over there, Michelle. We didn't have to do that. An original knife shape. So this... Only a couple companies do this. This is the Kiritsuke Deba. So with that knife, you will notice if I turn it over, it has a hollow,
Pattern going.
it's a single bevel knife. So it has the Ura side being hollow. Mm-hmm. So being that it is a fish filleting knife, I personally, when I got it, I thought the point was going to probably poke through the skin and make it jagged. I was pleasantly surprised that that did not happen. Extremely sharp knife. This is by the Yoshihiro brand. And this is a white number 2 steel. So it's extremely heavy, thick knife. It is just absolutely beefy. It is something to wield this thing. But but has been used. I've definitely used them some fish. Oxidation has not been a problem. We don't get to fillet a lot of fish around here, so that's just one of the things. But the next knife, it has gotten an extreme amount of use. I hope my wife takes the opportunity to get very close up on this. So this particular Garasuki 190 millimeter, it's a boning knife. It is the larger version of a boning knife. And when she is ready, I'm going to show you that I took 10 chickens to practice my breaking down chickens. And I was actually deboning, not just breaking down chickens, taking the bones out of every part of the chicken.
There's so many damn chickens.
So when I cracked the legs of the chicken, you can see the marks that you're gonna check out. It's easier to see on the opposite side. If you get up close, you can see that I'm gonna have fun sharpening this for you on a video called Sharpening Garasuki. So it has little, they're not chips, but they're definitely little notches that need to be polished out. And again, an extremely heavy knife, meant to help you with, it had no problems going through the bones of that chicken. Again, white number 2. This is a Muru knives. Am I saying their name wrong? Mioru knives. I apologize to them. I'll definitely put a link. But I think it's like Miura knives, but it was actually made for the brand Mura knives. I'm going to keep trying. By Yoshikazu Tanaka. So everyone who knows, that's absolutely famous blacksmith who forges knives. So he made it for their brand. And that is a knife that I go through for the sheer weight. It powers through the inertia of it, gets it done. So when this knife came on the show, it has a fantastic story. So Luca, sharp edge knife, he gets ideas, and this is one of his. This ZDP 189 knife, I believe it's 190 millimeter Babka. It was extremely sharp out of the box. I mean, it was a pleasure from day one. ZDP 189, extremely hard, great edge retention. It came in sharp. It's going to hold its edge. We have not had a problem with any chipping. Lightweight, ultra thin, just good job. You know what I mean? So Luca was nice enough to hook a brother up. We appreciated receiving this knife on his dime. I'm not saying nice words because it was gifted. We've done a couple of things on the show with this stuff, and he was like, I have an idea and I want to send it to you. And I said, thank you. And it was obvious on the show. We opened it up. You saw what we saw. Performance through the roof. Congratulations to Sharp Edge Knife. Congratulations to Luca. I am not remembering right now the Hamono that made it for him, because I believe it's just a name that I don't remember that's very common. I did have a link on the original episode, so I do apologize that that particular blacksmith is not a blacksmith whose name I've ever said before I said on that knife. So I will try to put something on the screen for you, but links will be to all of these knives. So we're going to go over real quick to the bonus knife. So this is the only American-made knife that's over here. I don't want to off-put the American knife makers. We had actually already had like the other knives picked out. This was a mystery box, so we did not know what we were getting. It makes the extra knife of the year. So I literally just had this guy's name on the top of my head, and it is DCB Customs, but I cannot remember his name. I'll put it on the screen. I just had it a second ago. California knife maker, and this is ABL constructed chef knife. The reason this knife has not gotten use is because I actually didn't put it in the knife drawer. The box was so big.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It wasn't. I didn't see it. It was kind of out of sight, out of mind. He uses a combination of natural woods and synthetics to make the handles. The grind is somewhat flat. If you can catch the light, there is a little bit of a hollow right there. The rest of it is flat. So I will have to purposely make this knife more available to get some use out of it. So I do want to apologize to the knife maker that has not gotten the use on the show. I feel like I'm not treating him fairly. I actually had to look for the knife. What did I do with it? And it was put up in a closet, and because the box was bigger, it did come in a normal flat box to go into the drawer. That is my bad, and I don't want to disrespect any American knife makers because they deserve credit too, but it is the only knife maker that was on the show this year. We had Marcus Williamson on last year, and if you haven't looked into Marcus, he has really upgraded his game, and he's got some amazing stuff on Instagram and at the Blade Show and stuff, so you should check him out.
We also had our local boy on too.
Well, so we had Brent Nolan on the show. He brought knives. We didn't get a knife. So the other knife makers, I just said we got knives from them. Okay. We don't have a Brent Nolan knife, but it was great to see an American knife maker, local guy, like my wife said, around the corner, bring on some Japanese-looking American knives. And that was quite interesting as well to see the influence. Okay, so we're going to spend a little bit more money now in the back row. It's funny because the two knives that are side by side are the opposite end of the spectrum. I'm going to go in reverse order here. I'm going to go on the low end of the spectrum on the price, but high end of the spectrum in performance. I'm going to actually throw this one forward. This is the Tajiro 210 millimeter VG10. This is a factory made knife. That means a lot of people worked on this knife. This knife was under $100. This VG10 knife was ridiculous out of the box. The performance was through the roof. And as someone once said, and if I'm quoting the proper person, I'll make sure I give him credit. I believe it was my buddy Jesse Palmer out of Canada who said, just buy a damn Tajiro. So it holds true. The Tajiro knife out of the box, if you want a Japanese knife, you want high performance, you don't have money to break the bank, just buy a damn Tajiro. I'm glad it proved to be true. On the other end of the spectrum, if you like beautiful things, collector's items, as well as high performance.
Honestly. You can put it back. I mean, you'll know where you are in the back row.
I'll just do that.
Okay.
So we're going to go to more of a unicorn. How do I say the word unicorn? This is just hard to find. Like, getting it is difficult. Not that, I mean, they're still being made, but getting it is absolutely difficult. Takamura Uchigumo, this 180 millimeter R2 SG2 chef knife. The Sumanagashi finish is etched. The texture on there is real. It's not just a pretty thing that you just see. I mean, it's in there. I haven't used it enough to know if it helps with performance, to see if it helps with wedging. It seems like it should help with food release. But this particular Western handled full tang R2 steel knife, you don't have to worry about it staining. It is beautiful. Price point is,
sorry for all the wiggling.
I believe the price point of that was 8 to 9 times that Tajiro. So again, if you can get one, I know Frankie's got one on his channel. Frankie has the 240 millimeter. I'll put a link, and he has the Japanese handle. So then that is the Uchigumo. How do you say that? Nohana. That means that it has the Japanese handle. So this is probably the most expensive knife that my wife will ever use. Because she tends to not go for the carbon steel. So being that it's stainless, and since she's my wife, I don't get mad that if she breaks it, it's also her money too. Right there.
Yeah. Obviously, I don't know how much he pays for all these knives.
Some things are gifted, some things are heavily discounted. We've definitely had some
and some are not.
Generous people, and there's a lot of them that are not. How about we say a lot of them
are
not? Okay.
That was my point. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this particular knife was a shocking, amazing, beautiful, wow knife. This is a Katalka Morishi Deba, 210 millimeter. So by all definitions, this is a fish knife. This is a fish filleting knife. It looks like a chef knife. You could treat it like a chef knife. It is a single beveled knife. The Damascus is typical to Katalka Damascus. It is gorgeous. The performance is amazing. Instantly a favorite in my hand. I could see me using it for everything.
I think you like the bulky handle too, because it's a really thick handle.
I don't. It's not the handle. I mean, there's a streamlined, slick. The Damascus is beautiful. The performance was there.
It's heavy.
So this white number 2, we have other Catalca products. I mean, 2 other ones. This one just. I mean, of a lot of the knives here, it's definitely around the top knife. This, I know another guy bought one after seeing this, absolutely loves it equally. It grabs you. I don't even know. So,
Right to flip him back over. Sorry,
it's okay. But which is so funny to say about the next knife, because I have a lot of contrasting things about the next knife. So Jiko cutlery is definitely got to be a pride of Japan. I don't know that anyone makes fit and finish better than Jiko cutlery. The beauty, this knife has been used, obviously, I've used it a lot, but the beauty of the knife, the fit, the finish, the lines, the manufacturing, every single thing about this knife, the weight, over the top, the best. How about this knife? Not my favorite. So this is a butcher knife, and if you are not in a slaughterhouse breaking cows down,
don't buy it.
Yeah, the rounded bevel, the belly, it's just too much. I mean, if you're trying to slice onions and like whatever, it doesn't make full contact on the cutting board.
Didn't you cut meat with it? Maybe was that?
I'm saying it is a butcher knife. It is I'm in the movies. My name is Jason. I wear a mask, or the place that Rocky punches things. You know, and after he's done hitting the ribs of the cow, they serve it in supermarkets. That is for that. I mean, it has one purpose only. It is a butcher knife. It is a slaughter knife. Okay, and if you're not in the business, no. So it is one of those truly, it has a unique purpose knives. But again, I really want to own something else by Jiko Cutlery in the future. I just think that what they put out is the highest quality product. So we'll definitely have to work that out one day. An actual unicorn.
Another?
An actual.
Oh.
Shigefusa. So the Shigefusa, Kasumi, Magaki. So this 210 millimeter chef knife in traditional Shigefusa is obviously made by the Swedish steel that they like. It closest resembles the traditional Japanese steel that was always used in sword making. So we had an episode recently where we got a chance to sharpen this knife. It was not extremely sharp out of the box. It got extremely sharp when we were done with it. Lightweight performance. It's not like I would say there's nothing about it that catches the eye as far as like the Catalca Damascus or the Suminagashi finish of the Takamura. You're buying just a legendary family knife, retirement soon, the boys take over. Will it carry the same weight when the young guys? I don't know. Hard to get, expensive. A lot of the websites say like they don't take pre-orders, 3-year wait. Having to find someone who has one. I got very fortunate that a person in Japan who had doubles, they had collection or whatever. There was a conversation that he had 2 of a lot of knives. He did not need 2 of everything. So very fortunate to be in contact. So that was not a store. That was a communication with an individual. So I'll just leave his name out of it because I don't know if he wants to be known. But I was very pleased with to add the unicorn to the collection. So yeah, what is there to say? It's a Shigefusa. So Luca, we talked about him earlier, Madman, sharp edge knife. He was like, let me take everything I ever knew about a knife and put it into one knife, and we have a shape that is like no other. Is it a Morishi Deba? Is it a Deba? It's a single bevel. It's a chef. It's got stuff going on. So this white number 1, I I can't even remember the name of this knife shape. It is its own knife shape. But Luca himself, it is his design. If you're using a single bevel knife as your chef knife, it's going to take some practice, which can start with frustration. I'm not saying you can't get great at it, but some of the things that was suggested it could do, we found that it could not do. If you're doing katsuruoki, where you're vegetable peeling, katsuruoki. I used to say that word all the time. I'm having some troubles today. If you're trying to do vegetable peel, the belly is slightly rounded. You cannot do it. I'm even saying the best people. It's just you don't get it the full line up. Say any vegetable, whether it's a cucumber, whether it's a daikon radish. It's just a little too curved to get that line. Maybe the ultimate skilled guy. Congratulations, but as far as like being sharp, performance, easy to use, I'm gonna sharpen it at some point. I haven't had to. White number 1, it should be extremely sharp. It does have a little bit of a belly. You can do the rocking motion, but again, when you cut straight down, it wants to bend because of the curve, so it just takes a lot of practice. But what I'm really proud of is that Luca went outside of the box and said, I'm going to make something new. And so just really happy that people are trying to shake things up. And this knife is the reason that Luca and I had made a relationship in the first place. So he read the review, and we had a long conversation about it, and that's why he wanted to send us the other knife. We'll call this one rare. We won't call it a unicorn. It's more that they're hard to get. This is one of the ones that would be hard to ever sell. This Jiro, my wife maybe will get the number on the front of the box. He numbers the knives. So that way you can know, because he does not make a lot of them per year. Okay, with this white number 1 knife was extremely sharp. And the Western handle is not like any other Western handle that we have. This full tang Western handle, it is not bulky in size. The knife is extremely tall. Yeah. The Kurouchi finish is unique unto him. It is an extremely high-performing blade. So it's not a true unicorn in the sense that he's going to be around for like a long time. It's just more rare in the sense that people are really on lists to try to get one. And you almost have, if you see one, you have to just snag it. You can't really be picky about Western or Japanese handle. You're like, there is one, grab it. You can always sell it later and get your money back. But again, that one's one of the ones that's like one of the pride of the collections, is having the Jiro, especially since it does perform. Where I'm very proud of the Shig, and we got it sharper to perform, but this one's just a little bit more eye-catching. So any of you who are thinking about getting a Jiro, it's a go. It's a go. If you have the opportunity, I don't care what shape it is, grab it. So someone whose name I heard a lot of and wasn't quite sure if they lived up to the hype, exploded past the hype. Nakagawa, working in this particular knife, they worked with Zahocho to make this knife. This is a white number 1 chef knife. This one, my wife and I recall, it has a computer-like hammered pattern. The tsuchime pattern itself was quite unique. In case any of you guys are going to reach out and ask me, this knife is spoken for a buyer. He is patiently waiting for several videos to be shot. We're going to be shooting a video on chef knives. So I'll have an entire chef knife collection out. And once that goes, this knife will find a new home. So ask me why. I don't want to sell this knife. I like it. I have another Nakagawa you'll see in a moment. Nakagawa is going to be around for a while. There will be many opportunities for me to own Nakagawa. One day, maybe I'll even own Nakagawa Hanyaki. So the other person has a matching blue number 1. It meant a lot to them. And if you guys know, we do buy knives on the show. So this one will find a new home, so that another knife will one day find its home here. It is to keep the channel going. We do appreciate you. Please take the opportunity to like these videos. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the videos. It helps us helps the algorithm so much. We appreciate your support. Thank you. So again, this Nakagawa, extremely high performer, super happy about it, but its twin will not be leaving. So this particular Nakagawa Damascus blue number 1 with the custom handle received from Tokushu Knife. The handle itself was gifted. I do not know how to pronounce the handle maker's name. I want to say like Junetsu. So someone please correct me on how to say this. The handle itself was more than the Tajiro knife. I mean, so the fact that that Tony had Zach gift the handle and let me pick it out was a really nice gesture. This blue number 1 Damascus Nakagawa is just beautiful. It's a little bit thicker than its counterpart, I believe. Maybe just because of the Damascus. But chances are in this house, if it has a custom handle, it's probably not leaving. It's just beautiful from start to finish. And yeah. So the Kisuke Manaka. My wife and I, we were making fun of me because I was mispronouncing one of the words earlier. So Kisuke Manaka is how you say that. This particular knife is extremely tall. This particular blue, this is Aogami Super. I don't remember. So this is Super Blue, which is one of my favorite steels, if not my favorite steel. This particular tsuchime Super Blue, believe it or not, I've sharpened this knife now probably in the last 2 months. I do not know how many times because I am doing a video for you guys using some Arkansas stones. And I have dulled and sharpened this knife several times. And it has taken the beating. But the weight of it is significant. It really helps to push through the vegetables. And, the thing about Aogami Super is you don't really worry about oxidation. So it's nice you get the benefit of carbon without the worry of wiping it down. And again, Zahocho Knife had a custom order when they made that. So it was their design that was made for them. I think it's a fantastic design. So again, absolutely gorgeous knife. So now we have twins. I hate one of them. I love the other one. I don't hate. But I'll push them both forward together. They are brother and sister. So brother over here is going to be they're both 240 millimeter white number 2 Gyutos. The Magaki tends to stain a little faster than the Kurouchi finish. The Kurouchi finish I've grabbed a significant amount of times. It is extremely sharp. It is aggressive looking. I do not worry about wiping it down like I would with the Magaki. They both perform equally well. I cannot say anything different about the performance. They are twins in every way except for the slight aggravation of having to wipe down the Magaki finish a little more. Like just you have to be on. It's not instant, but you have to be aware. So I would rather have a little bit more time. So I'm sure that the Magaki finish knife will find the new home, but the Kurouchi one will actually be receiving a new handle this year. Josh at Let's Handle This reached out. I don't know how Josh thinks he got better, but he's, in his words, I've gotten better and I want to send you a handle. He had me to pick out a knife. That's the one I picked out. So I look forward to receiving, and it's his choice. I have no clue what the handle is going to look like. So he's supposedly making it now. And whenever we see it, you'll see it, and we'll be happy to share it with you. And then, the last knife. So it's a very large knife. I don't know how many people are a fan of 300 millimeter. But even if you're not a fan of 300 millimeter, you've got to respect the fact that this particular company has just been around. Mizuno, 500-year history of making. Let me just get this like next to my head. This 300 millimeter knife has only been used, I know it's been used to cut cake. Wow. This is Swedish steel. So you are not seeing any type of discoloration really on it. It's fun. I mean, listen, I would say that I got out of hand getting the 300 millimeter. I wanted something 300 millimeter. I'm glad to own a 300 millimeter. You don't reach for it all the time because of its massive size. I would personally love to own the Hanyaki by them, blue number 2. I think that is on my dream wish list. I could see selling a lot of these knives for that because they're just known for that. And a person who I respect a lot, Damien out of Croatia, who sharpens swords and polishes everything. He was like, a Mizuno Hanyaki is a true Hanyaki. Like, he just over the top. Like, if you're going to have a Hanyaki knife, you would want to have that. So I hope a Mizuno Hanyaki in the future is there. But I can tell you right off the bat, fit and finish was amazing. Everything that I thought they would be, they were. If you haven't thought of Mizuno, because it's just, Mizuno's kind of like Cadillac. It's just been around. It just is good. It's been around forever. You might have thinking of the name your dad said or something. You don't need the new up and comers. The Mizuno 500-year history. I mean, they get it done. So, wow, what an episode we had. Definitely not a dull moment.
What a collection.
Quite an eclectic collection. 22 knives of 2022, kind of all over the place. Definitely a lot of knives that you saw here today that will stay in the collection because they're collectible. We appreciate you always checking in. By the way, in the distance, the 23 knives of 2023 are just sitting there for us over the next year to share them with you. So we look forward to another great year in our plans. We hope that you'll continue to join us Friday nights at 8 o'clock. Sometimes there's a Tuesday night nugget. But thank you for your support as always. God bless.